Well, hello everyone. Welcome in everybody. And what is up, gamers? Hi. Sorry I'm late. Had some technical gubbins to sort out in the background. And speaking of technical gubbins to sort out in the background, pardon my French, but yeah, piss off, Eric. Sorry about that. Hopefully that worked. But yeah, sorry you had to see that, chat. Oh my god, my mic is all the way over here. Also, speaking of tech, it does not want to stay in place. The little doodad that you turn the twiddly and it keeps it in place does not want to stay in place. Very annoyingly. So hopefully, can you, is the audio normal now? Is the audio normal now? I very much hope that the audio is normal now. Hi everybody. Welcome in, friends. It's lovely to be here. Is there ever a time when there's no technical difficulties? I don't think there is. Anyways, thank you for still being here. Anyone who hasn't left thus far, I appreciate it. Now, let me catch up with chat and say hi to everyone. Hello, Nia. Welcome on in. Hello, Indigo. Lovely to see you both. Indigo says, I'm the best viewer, and I'm already here. You damn right, too. And thank you so much for the 20 stream steak. I hope you enjoy your delicious, delicious steaks. Very much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a lovely steak. That's so many steaks. Sneak. Pronounced like steak. It's snake. Actually like snake, but you know what I mean. Yep. I was gonna say snake steak, but no, please don't eat snakes. Or do. I don't know. I'm not your boss. I know some people do. Eat, if it's food, then go for it. I'm gonna shut up. Anyways, Neo says we're just about to ask us to be the audio weird. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It seems fine now. Okay, fantastic. My mic was doing a weird thing. But thankfully it seems like we've been able to sort it. Thank a goodness. What a day it has been, chat. Oh my stars. What a day it has been. So for anyone who doesn't know, just a little programming update. Once again, I will be not streaming tomorrow morning because I will not be available tomorrow because I will not be present. Mochaccino, hi, welcome in. Lovely to see you as well. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry that the start of stream is so jank, but I mean, is it ever not at all jank? Let's be real. It's usually at least some amount of jank. Hey, Silly, welcome on in, and thank you so much for the immediate lurk. I hope you have a lovely lurk. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. But yes, hi everyone. I will not be streaming tomorrow. I will be elsewhere in the world. And you know when you know, like on like an inside your brain, like thinky thoughts level, you know that you have absolutely nothing to be anxious about. But so there's your thoughts, and then there's your brain, and your brain is not your thoughts, and your brain is not you, and your brain is like, but what if we do have things to be anxious about? And then it tells you all of the improbable but technically possible situations that might arise that would give you cause to be anxious. And the answer is that, like, none of these things can be planned for particularly, so we really ought not to worry about them at all. But here we are. You know, the brain says, but what if we do anyways? And here we are. So I have been just like a sobbing ball of anxiety for a few days, despite the fact that, just so everyone knows, I don't want to go into too much detail as to what I'm up to. Because I don't want to jinx anything. It's nothing bad. It's nothing medical. I'm fine. This is nominally a fun thing that is happening that is the reason that I am unable to stream tomorrow. But I don't want to jinx it by saying what it is, because then if people afterwards are like, hey, how was that? And I have to tell them that, like, the worst possible scenario happened, it was unpleasant, and I cried all the way home. I'd rather avoid that, so So I'm just gonna not talk about it. But that's why if I seem like I have more sort of like anxious energy than I usually do, that would be why. Cause I do. Um anyways. So I've been furiously working on some stuff earlier today um that relates to this thing that's happening tomorrow that I hope will be relevant, but on the other hand, I am also again um terrified. Um so yeah, fun stuff. Um so yeah, I am just a bundle of just nerves, as you can probably tell. I will try and curtail that so we have some fun this evening, and I am looking forward to working on, if not finishing, this piece. I still don't really know how to paint this because rocks are confusing, landscapes are confusing. I don't think it looks right yet, and I don't know how to correct that. So here we are. Ah. um. Anyways, Neo says if it's I'm in a train, so if I don't react to anything, the train has run over the Wi-Fi cable. Ah, beans. Okay. Well, hopefully the cables will be fine. I think they're meant to be fairly robust, so you should be fine. But if you go through a tunnel or anything like that, don't worry about it. I doubt you'll have missed much. Though I didn't write them down, so I'll probably forget what they are. But I do have some questions for the stream today, out of curiosity and just some general spicy opinions in response to some things that I saw earlier and some thoughts that I have about it. Anyways, Indigo says, Sammy says, I'm gonna win the lottery. Us. So, how did that go? Welp. As you can see, I'm still living in a pokey 2-bedroom apartment in the middle of a forest, so probably not great. Anyways, I did buy a lottery ticket for yesterday, I think it was. And I did match 2 numbers. But it turns out if you match one of the regular numbers and the bonus number, you don't get anything for it. So I didn't win a free extra ticket, and I'm very disappointed by that. But never mind. It did actually have an alright day yesterday, all things considered. I did a little sketch for Patreon that hasn't gone up yet because I haven't had a chance to put it up yet because I've been too busy being anxious about things. And yeah, otherwise had a pretty nice day. It was my moderator slash spouse and I celebrated our 9.5 wedding anniversary yesterday. That is to say 9 years and 6 months. We still celebrate our half anniversary because we just think it's a nice thing to do. So we got a fun little dinner. You know, we didn't go out or anything, but we did get a fun little dinner from the supermarket. We had fish and chips. It was really nice. And then we had strawberries and cream for dessert, which was a lovely little indulgence. We had forgotten to buy regular sugar because I forgot to mention that we'd completely run out of regular sugar. So for the cream part of the strawberries and cream, I had to use brown sugar. And I gotta say, personally, I think the combination of brown sugar, like whipped cream, with berries is a god tier dessert. It's such a good winning combination. But I also recognize that it's like a little bit weird. But to that end, also, today's coffee is a decaf. It's a sugarcane processed decaf grown in Colombia, and its tasting notes are, let's check them out. Tastes like brown sugar. I did want something a little bit milky and sweet, but I didn't want to make a tea because I really don't think that brown sugar would pair well with tea in general, unless it's like one of those boba milk teas where they have like the brown sugar syrup that they cook the boba pearls in. But to be perfectly honest, also, I'm not a big boba fan. I've only had it a couple of times, and all of the times that I've had boba, I found it to be overwhelmingly too sweet. That might have just been the places I got it from, or maybe I didn't get the right order. I don't know. But it was too sweet, which is a crazy thing for me to say. And I don't know if this is just because, you know, like I entered into at this point, my 30s. I'm 40 now, but it would have been in my 30s at this point. at some point into what I consider to be anything post your 20s is like proper adulthood. Your 20s are kind of like the rehearsal period for proper adulthood. And then, you know, like 30s and beyond is proper adulthood. I have started saying in praise of, like treats and that kind of thing, it's not too sweet. I feel like I'm becoming my mom. There is, so if you're ever in London, I highly recommend going to a bakery called Miel that's just around the corner from Warren Street tube station and getting the Queen Amand, because it is hands down one of the loveliest pastries I've had from anywhere at all ever in my entire life. And one of the things that I like about it is that it is too sweet. Ah! But it's really good. Anyways, hello Samantha, welcome in. How are you doing? Hello, 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 hello. Lovely to see you. Welcome on Thor's Day, Artstrom. Woo! Hell yeah. Speaking of Thor, I don't think we're expecting thunderstorms, but I'm going to open the window just a smidge more to get some breeze in, because it is quite warm in this studio room. But anyways, Indigo says, Monkey's Paw, you always win the lottery, but all you ever win is an extra ticket. Oh, it's just a cycle of lucky dips over and over and over again. I did once have like a 3 lucky dip sequence. Like, I bought a lottery ticket on a whim for funsies. I won a lucky dip on it, and I was like, hell yeah, a lucky dip, nice, good job. And that one won a lucky dip, and the lucky dip from that one also, and a lucky dip. Ah, amazing. Blasphemous is Volcachino. Ask for 30% or 10% sugar next time. That's what my fiance does. You can ask for 10% sugar? Oh, that sounds good. And this is gonna sound weird, because genuinely, I do think that I am puts a lot of sugar in my tea person in general. Like, I do make my black teas sweet, but the bobas that I've had were way sweeter. Though that being said, one of them was literally, it was just like, it wasn't like I asked for it to be made. It was just like a drinks cup in a fridge case at this like takeaway place that I got, and maybe that's an indicator of how not good this boba was. That it was just literally just like a pre-prepared boba beverage that they'd probably made like a dozen of earlier that day, slapped the lids on them, and put them in a fridge. But yeah, maybe one of these days I'll give it a go again, because, you know, I do love tea, and I do like sweet stuff, just not as sweet as that was. Anyways, I think there are different types of sweetness as well. Like, you know, I can just down like a shooter of maple syrup like it's nothing. But like the tiniest, barest sip of ice wine, if you've ever had ice wine, I just find to be intolerably cloying. And also anything that, we've been through this on stream before, anything that has artificial sweetener is just like, no, too sweet, get it away from me. Except Lucozade Sport, for unknown reasons. But, like, oh, out of curiosity, they have this, like, blue Pepsi that's out now, and my moderator / spouse got himself a bottle of this blue Pepsi because it was on for, like, I don't know, it was on, like, introductory offer for very cheap from one of the supermarkets in our neighborhood, and so he picked it up just for funsies, and, I had a sip, and at first it was like, okay, there's a hint of sort of like citrus and a bit of spice, and then it just hits you with like a wall of sucralose, and it was so gross. The faces I must have been making would have been so funny, just like, oh, just like the face journey of too many things are happening in my mouth and none of them are pleasant. Well, Kachina says, oh my god, ice wine is gross. I remember, listen, I, like, don't talk about your ages, chat, but I will say I am old enough to remember when ice wine sort of was having a moment back in probably, like, the 90s, I guess. As a premium product of our local wineries in sort of the southern Ontario region, which is where I'm from. And I remember trying it and being like, why, though? This is wine syrup, and I don't like it. Did not like it. Samantha says, not a big Boba fan. Mandalorian bounty hunters are disheartened. Oh, no, that's my favorite Boba. Actually, I can't, I don't know where it is, but I did once do a sketch for my Patreon. That was just a sketch of Boba Fett drinking a boba. Because I thought it would be cute. And you know what? It was cute, and he was having a lovely, lovely time. And honestly, I think that, like, any sort of, like, straw-based beverage has to be the easiest to deal with when you've got the helmet and you need to hydrate and you don't want to have to take off your helmet to hydrate. Because that's a faff. You just get, the straw just gets under there and you can just sip it. It's great. Fantastic. Love that for them. Anyways, I bought tapioca pearls like half a year ago and still haven't made boba, says Indigo. Ooh, if you do decide to actually use them, I would be really interested to hear how homemade boba compares. Samantha says, did anyone else's parents give them Lucozade whenever they were sick, so they associate the drink with being ill now? Oh, that's interesting. No. But is that because it, like, it's hydrating and you get dehydrated when you're sick, or what? I'm guessing that's probably why, but no. I mean, we didn't have Lucozade back in the old country, so it wasn't a thing for me. I buy Lucozade Sport when I know the weather's going to be really hot, because it's the only sports drink I can find. Unless I can get to an Asian supermarket and get Pocari Sweat, which is, like, infinitely superior to Lucozade Sport. Otherwise, it's Lucozade Sport. And it's fine, honestly. I can down a big bottle of Lucozade Sport, no problem. And it helps keep me hydrated when it's hot, so I'm less likely to have crippling headaches, which is, you know, my idea of a good time is not having a crippling headache. Let me get these paints set up. I was actually painting earlier today, on my lunchtime, because I had some things to get done for tomorrow, which I wish I could share with you because, oh my god, I'm such a chronic oversharer. I'm not good at not sharing things, but I can't share these just in case everything goes horribly wrong tomorrow. Also because they are intended to be gifts, and if any of the recipients of said gifts happen to be watching this stream, in which case, hi! You're great, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm bringing you watercolors. But I don't want to spoil it for them, just in case. Just in case. Yeah. So I finished those today. I was very happy that they got done, and I also think they turned out pretty cute. So, I don't know. I feel like my art style, like a lot of art styles, is kind of a Marmite thing, but hopefully they'll go down well if I am actually able to deliver them. Please keep your fingers crossed for me, because I'm genuinely so scared. So scared. I am just a panicky little creature who is used to be semi-capable at doing socials, like, out and about in the world, and has kind of forgotten how, apparently. So here we are. Like, how do you network? How do you make friends as an adult? I don't know. My methodology for like befriending people is like, hello, we have shared interest. Let us discuss. And or hi, please enjoy this object I painted for you. We're friends now, you know. Thank you for the cross fingers, Mochaccino. I really appreciate it. I should probably introduce what paints we're using for this. It's these. This is for anyone who missed it, this is a set of watercolors that I mixed up myself by taking a specific amount of, I should have written down what the percentage was, but I did film it, so I do have a record of how many what of a gram of cobalt turquoise I blended into 1 gram of each of these colors for consistency, because I wanted to see how a scientific application of consistency will perform as an artist's paint palette. And the answer is weird, because I didn't select these colors for how highly pigmented they were, because it turns out that's really hard information to find just from, like, the makers of paints generally. So I was looking for colors, like base colors that were sort of as close to like basic points on the rainbow spectrum as I could, as well as brown and black, and also high ratings of light fastness. So if you paint this color and leave it out in, you know, sort of a sun exposed location for a year, does it look the same? And these ones are all rated very well for light fastness. So to go through the set again, just in case anyone's curious, we have, and comparing and contrasting how they look when they have been mixed with our turquoise. Cadmium red medium, which turned into this beautiful red brown, which I absolutely hecking adore. Chromium orange hue, which did this, which is awesome. It's like a copper patina situation. I love the way this color turned out. It's so weird, and I absolutely adore it. Cadmium yellow light, which is like electric kiwi. Helio green, which this color, it's honestly, I wouldn't have guessed it from this swatch with all of the other colors sort of next to it in context, but this color is so stupidly pigmented compared to like every other color in this palette that I've actually, even when I've been doing green things, I've more been mixing like my yellow and my blue and turquoise together to arrive at a green than using this, because it is so bright it will just override everything and make an absurdly bright green. That is not really the vibe. And cobalt blue deep, which just got a little bit cooler with the turquoise. And I'm actually really surprised because this one, when I mixed it with this pink, because I also did a palette where I mixed everything with this pink, the cobalt blue deep, dramatic change. Like, dramatic change with this, which is a fairly weak pigment compared to this one. But mixing this into that gave us really not that different. Interesting stuff. Then manganese violet, which just became sort of a bluer violet. I think it looks real pretty. Mahogany brown. I love the brown that this turned it into. I think it's a very useful brown, which I like. I think in general this palette is a really good palette for landscapes and that kind of scene. And Mars black, which has kind of turned it into a slightly greenish black, I would say, which is really fun. So that's the colors that we're working with today. They're great. And I'm having a nice time. And I'm terrified because I don't know. This is just one of those pieces where, like, because we've got like a lot of like tiny little leaves in this sort of like foresty upper bit here, we've got a lot of rocks, and all of these things have just a butt ton of detail. I do not want to overburden the piece with detail, but I don't want to underburden the piece with detail as well, because both of these I think will end up looking bad. So I have to find just the sweet spot of the right amount of futzing with all of this stuff and not do any more futzing than that. There is a very delicate futz balance on this piece that I am going to try to maintain. We'll see. Samantha says, with regard to Lucozade, hydration and very sugary, so it helps get some calories in you when you're struggling to keep anything down. That makes sense. That was the reasoning, I believe. Makes absolute sense. I wonder if Lucozade is as sugary as it used to be. Because it's probably, I know the sports one has sweeteners in it. So I would go out on a limb and guess that the regular one has sweeteners in it. To which end, it probably doesn't work as well as a sick drink anymore. Misguided government health initiatives. I'm not going to go on about it again because it is one of my soapbox issues that does me a lot of bother. Anyways, I do hope the highest rating for light fastness is C, says Samantha. I'm so sorry to report that it's like 5 stars out of 5, which is not nearly as much fun. But yeah, it's also one. Oh Jesus. Okay, I'll be back in just a minute, everybody. Everything's fine. I've just seen a very large spider. I need to put. Sorry, I had to take a minute to get my bearings there. I am not kidding. This was not like, if this was just like a little, the other day we had like a teeny tiny little baby spider, and that was fine. That was no big. It could just go right out the window. This was the largest, and I know at least one person in the chat will be very disappointed they didn't get to see it. This was hands down the largest spider I have seen in this country. And I am famously an arachnophobe. And I also famously live in a forest with houses without screens that spiders love to get inside. So feeling a little bit a little shaky now, but I'm okay. I'm okay. Everything's fine. Everyone is fine. It's all fine. The spider is no longer in the house. Hopefully the spider will not come back around to this window and climb back in. And, yeah. Anyways, how's everybody else doing? How's your week been? Hope it's been good. I completely forget what my train of thought was, of course. So, in that case, I'm going to move on to the question of the stream. Or one of the questions of the stream. My first question of the stream. Spider friend, everyone who is me loves a spider friend, says Samantha. Yes, Samantha is famously, I think at this point, a friend to spiders. And, you know, I love that for you. I just, you know, like a lot of people just have some random things that scare the crap out of me. One of them is spiders. The other one, improbably, for unknown reasons, and very occasionally, maps. Not every map. Not all the time maps. Just every once in a while, when I'm in just the right headspace, a map will do it. That'll freak me the heck out. I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. I don't even know why with spiders. I know that they're harmless. I mean, they're not harmless because they leave things in my house that I have to clean. And I am not good at hoovering, or tidying, or dusting, or any of those things. So the less I have to do of it, the better, frankly. But here we are. Anyways, so yeah, that was the situation. Everything's fine. Hello. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee now. And I'm just gonna keep an eye on that spot where the spider was, because I am genuinely terrified it's gonna come back. I will say, when I'm removing spiders or like big bugs or whatever from my house, I will if it's like a teeny tiny baby spider, I'll just put it out the window. If it is anything larger than a teeny tiny baby spider, I am going out the front door and like a distance away from our house to send it away. Because otherwise it's just gonna come back in. No. Centipedes are the real enemy, says Mochaccino. I am honestly kind of scared of a lot of creepy crawlies, but again, it's a weird thing, because seeing like a spider just out in, like, you know, making spider webs out in the park, no problem, like, fine, whatever. Do you, pal. I hope you have a lovely day. Seeing spider... Oh, you know, when you get, like, the first sort of, like, cold weather and it's misty when you go out in the morning, and then the spiders have made spider webs hanging off of, like, signs and fences, and they get covered in all of the little dewdrops, and it looks so Halloween-y and spooky and cozy and autumnal, and I love that so much. It's just when they're in the house. When they're in the house, it's no. Like, if I'm taking a shower and I'm washing my hair or whatever, and I turn around and I see a spider in the shower, I'm like, you gotta go now. Because they've seen me naked, and I did not consent to that. So, yep, out of here, you pervert. Anyways, hamster-sized beetles capable of flight. I would like to befriend them. Because I feel like that's probably the safest thing to do, because at some point, they are going to take over. Anyways. What was I going to talk about today? Oh, yeah. So, my point, and I do have one, is I inadvertently, experienced, shall I say, some supermarket checkout discourse today, and it got me thinking. And specifically, it got me thinking about, does one prefer, if you're going I'm thinking specifically about supermarkets at this point, does one prefer a self-checkout or a, like, staffed checkout? You also see them naked, checkmate. Yeah, but I feel like that was, like, they could put on teeny tiny little spider jeans if they want to. They just choose not to, so I'm assuming that they're probably all exhibitionists. That's different. I am being naked specifically in the privacy of my own home. My own home, which they're not paying rent for. They do not live here. Anyways. Supermarket checkouts. Do you prefer a staffed checkout or a self-checkout? And I am very much on team self-checkout. And I saw a lot of people saying, like, people of various ages saying, like, something goes wrong every time I try to use a self-checkout, so I would rather not. Or, I always feel like I'm holding up the queue at the self-checkout because I have to pack all of my own bags. And that's what really threw me, was there are places in the world where when you go to a staffed checkout at a supermarket, the person or people working there will pack your bags of groceries for you. Which is not something that I have ever experienced here in the United Kingdom, which is where I live. If I have to go through the staffed checkout here in England, I have like a cashier who is scanning things through at the speed of sound, just throwing them to the end of the till, and then sits there staring at me expectantly whilst I panickedly throw everything into my bag as quickly as possible so that I'm not holding up the queue. I'm not making that person wait. I'm not making anyone else in the queue wait. It is so stressful. Because weirdly enough, I like to be able to pack my grocery bags such that I'm not flattening my loaf of bread by putting a tin of soup on top of it, or I'm not placing all of the heavy things into one bag. I'd like it to be balanced. I don't like to put the toilet bleach next to unbagged produce in case it leaks. But when I'm at the staffed checkout and they're just like flinging things at me and I have to get everything into the bag as quickly as possible so that I can get out of their way, I can't do that. And it is so deeply stressful to me. I hate it. I start fumbling with things and I get panicked and it's a deeply unpleasant experience. Because we don't have this thing where, like, the cashiers help bag up your groceries. And even then, I know my parents have, because I think I don't know if they still have this in Canada, but they used to have this in Canada, where they literally had just, like, the bag staff who would stand at the ends of checkouts and bag up people's groceries. And they would complain sometimes about the fact that, like, the bag person is, like, 17, have never had to do any independent grocery shopping for themselves, and don't know how to pack a bag of groceries such that your bread doesn't get squished, or such that you don't put every single, like, carton of heavy stuff into one bag. My parents are old. They can't deal with bags that are that unbalanced because, they'll I don't know, slip a disc or break their hip or something. So, yeah. Self-checkout, says Muccacino. Samantha says self-checkout unless I am buying a thing that needs age verification like drugs. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if I'm buying just a thing of ibuprofen, it's easier to just go to a person, I think. Indigo says we don't have self-checkout at our grocery store. Never seen that, but also our cashiers are allowed to sit. I cannot believe that there are places where cashiers have to stand for their entire shift. That's just, like, what's the point of that? It doesn't make them do their jobs better. That just gives them chronic back pain. Just give them a damn chair. Anyways, Indigo says, I remember visiting a store where they had, like, a divider so they could fling things at the next person while you bag your stuff. Yes. Yes, I've seen that. I think my parents' like regular grocery store in Canada has that. It's kind of like it's I guess it's like one of the Canadian equivalents of like an Aldi type store, so it's one of like the less expensive supermarkets. Um and I believe they have like a 2-lane sort of bagging up system, so you can actually pack your bags after you've paid, while they scan through the next person's stuff. And I think that is, yes, if you're gonna do that, have like a lane system. None of the supermarkets that I have been to in the United Kingdom do this. They just fling everything at you and then just wait while you like panic riddenly try and ram everything into a bag as quickly as possible. So you don't feel like you are the most inconvenient, horrible person in the world for making them wait for you to bag stuff up. And I understand them not offering to like help or do anything because that's not their job, and I wouldn't expect them to do that if that's not part of their job. They're not paid to do that. Please don't do it. It's fine. But I don't know. Just give me a dang minute then. Ah, Mochaccino says food basics mentioned. Haha. Yep. Good old food basics. You know, Food Basics was the one supermarket in Canada last time I was there that sold Dempster's malt loaf, which is one of my favorite nostalgia foods from Canada. It is rare, which is such a shame because it's delicious. It is not the same as malt. If you know British malt loaf, it is not the same thing. It's not sweet and like squidgy in the same way. It is dark. It has a little bit of a chew to it, but it isn't sweet. And it's baked in those sort of like round loaf tins. So it's like a cylindrical bread, which is just so charming. But yeah. Aldi is everywhere, even when it isn't. Yep. I think everywhere has, or at least any place that I've been has like the sort of, they have like the budget supermarket, the mid-range supermarket, and then like the posh supermarket, you know? And yeah, in general, I mean, like, I would shop at Aldi more if I had an Aldi that was easy for me to get to. Unfortunately, the Aldis that are in my city of residence are, one of them is down a road where a bit of it has been subject to roadworks for a really long time, so it's a pain in the butt to get to on the bus. And the other one is just in general a pain in the butt to get to on a bus because of where it's located. So I don't Aldi as often as I'd like, which is a shame because it is the place to go for maple syrup. But Aldi is where I go to get my bits. I wouldn't do my regular big shop at Aldi because I would just be crying trying to pack my bags. I couldn't do it. Samantha says the lanes thing seems to have phased out. It used to be quite common in the UK, but now only seems to be in smaller independent types. Like, why? Like, why do they do this to us? It's so stressful. Is it okay? Let's be real. Is this just a neurodivergence thing? Am I just overthinking this and like everyone else just blithely is not self-aware enough to feel like this person is staring a hole into my brain while I try and get my, like, soup tins in the right order in my shopping bags, waiting for me to pay? I don't know, but I hate it. I hate it so much. I can't do my regular shops at the tills because it's so stressful to me. Whereas with self-checkout, at least where I shop, there's enough self-checkouts that there's rarely a queue, and if there is a queue, there's like one person, and they, you know, cycle through fairly quickly. But I'm also able to, like, place the items on the scale such that I can put them in the bags in the right order, which is a lot harder to do on a conveyor belt. Because even if I try and put things in the right order, the human who's doing the scanning and is doing their best doesn't know that I've put them on there in a very specific order so I can try and bag things in the right order, so they don't necessarily scan things in the right order, and then everything gets all bad, and it gets backed up anyways because I can't bag things as fast as they scan. I'm not equipped to be a person who can exist in real life. Either that or no, it's the real life that is wrong. Real life just needs to change and get better. That's the difference. Anyways, Samantha says, most people are not self-aware enough to move out of the way when taking up a whole aisle, so yes. Is that the difference? Is that, like, I was always given to understand that, like, oh, being neurodivergent means having, like, trouble understanding, like, social cues and, maybe not being aware of certain things. But my experience is such that I am, like, so much more socially aware than a lot of the people around me who are just blithely, just, I don't know, frankly, being annoying. and yeah. Like, exactly. Just taking up an entire aisle, and I'm like, hello? Some of us would like to buy hummus. Thank you. But also, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to make them feel bad about having to move. So I'll just wait. Being a person is suffering. That's all. Being a person is suffering. Oh, these freaking rocks. I'm just in this weird space where I just don't know how much detail to put into these rocks. I don't want to overdo it. I also very much do not want to underdo it. I'm gonna try. I need to darken down that sort of the foliage that's kind of further away from the viewer at the back there. And I'm actually gonna add a little bit of this Mars Black to it. Specifically because I don't want it to be as bright of a green as the stuff in the foreground. And I think that a little bit of the Mars Black will help with that. But I am going to add a little bit of this, this is yellow. What used to be yellow. The good, the bad, and the middle of the road, says Indigo. Yup. I think in general, I'm a pretty staunchly middle of the road shopper. Where I can be. But, like, buying the value range stuff from the middle of the road supermarket. God, that yellow is so intense. It's so intense that even on top of that black, it's like, boom! This is so green! Groceries, am I right, says Indigo? I don't know if this is a weird direction for conversation to go in. Anyways, that's actually something that makes me a little bit nervous about going to... I'm going to be in Denmark for a few days in a couple weeks. And I'm genuinely nervous, in part, because I do not know what the supermarkets are like. I don't know if they will have self-checkouts. And I will be visiting supermarkets because I'm like that. But I also only speak a very little bit of Danish. I could say, hi, and tak. And I hope I don't have to say that much more than hi, and tak. Because that is exactly the tone of voice I will be employing, because when I'm in nervous social situations, like, sort of like the transactional social situations with like a customer service person, and I'm nervous, my voice just gets higher. I'll just be like, hi, can I have that's not my normal speaking. This is my normal speaking voice. But when I'm in like that kind of situation, I'll be like, yes, hello, can I have a, it just goes up. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just because I'm scared. But yeah, so that is something I'm going to get to learn fairly soon. I have drawn up something of like a provisional itinerary for parts of our visit to Denmark. We're only there for a couple of days, so we don't really have a chance to do a ton of stuff. So I'm like, okay, here's a plan for day one. We will be visiting the largest supermarket in the city. Because I think we're both going to be too tired to want to go out for a meal, so I would literally just get like some ready-made sandwiches or something from the supermarket. So that's exciting stuff. Maybe I'll get some crisps and flavors we don't have here. I was really dismayed to be reminded of the fact that jams count as liquid, and I have not paid for a checked piece of baggage for this trip because it's too short to do anything other than a carry-on. I don't want this. I didn't want the flight to be that expensive because we're only going to be there for a few days. It's not like we're traveling for 2 weeks and I need a big old suitcase. I'm going to be there for like 2.5 days. I don't need that much stuff. But, yeah. So that'll all be fun, I hope. But, yeah, also got some fun stuff to be nervous about, so that is something to look forward to, I suppose. Anyways, I'm just gonna try and, like, glaze this stuff in the background a smidge. Just get some... Ah! No! No! Everything's fine, just a bit of a breeze, everybody. It's all good. Oh my god, can you believe to learn? And also, to be honest, there's a lot of sort of like tree texture in here that I think in hindsight is a little bit too contrasty. So getting this bit of a glaze on it of somewhat darker color, I think will help that to kind of blend in a smidge. I think that'll hopefully be good. Hopefully good, anyways. But yeah. Fun stuff. By the way, my itinerary for this stupid little holiday that we're going on is so silly. Like, my plans are like, okay, I want to take the metro to this stop because there's a coffee shop near there, and I think it would be nice to get a coffee. There isn't really that much else of interest there, just some, like, antique shops and some bookstores and what have you that we can nose around in, but mostly I'm there because I hear the coffee's really good. Priorities, don't you know? But, I don't know, I feel like that's some quality itinerary setting, right? Just books and coffee and visiting metro stations you've never been to, you know, priorities. Anyways, let me catch up with chat. I think I missed some interesting things, what people have been saying. I mean, Indigo said groceries, am I right? Actually, one of my special interests is supermarkets, so I want to visit some supermarkets because I like visiting them. I like visiting supermarkets in different cities and towns and countries to see what kind of stuff they prioritize and what kind of things that they sell, because I think you can learn a lot about a community based on what's in their supermarket. Anywho, Samantha says, see, neurodivergence comes with difficulty picking up on social cues, but also a knowledge of people's reactions and sudden coldness when we miss those social cues, so we become hypervigilant about not being a bother to other people to compensate. Oh, biddle boy, do I know it well. If you've ever been in Waitrose, and I say Waitrose specifically, because if you've been to a Waitrose, you probably understand. When you're in Waitrose, and you are looking at the fresh herbs near the wines, and somebody wants to get one of the wines on the shelf that you are ever so slightly in front of while you're debating whether or not you want to get chives or dill or both, and they say excuse me in the most witheringly pointed way you have ever heard in your entire life. Like, they are basically saying, they're saying, excuse me, could you just move out of the way a bit, please? But what they really mean is, excuse me, you subhuman piece of garbage. How very dare you stand between me and my mid-priced Chablis? Get in the bin, you absolute fucking peasant. Pardon my French, that was them, not me. And so I have this thing about not being in anyone's way, because then I suddenly feel like my mere existence is an inconvenience to other people and I don't deserve to exist, or take up space in the world, or consume matter, or be composed of... I am composed of matter that has better uses, clearly, because this person needs their vino. And realistically, they should just be a little bit more patient, because if they'd waited half a second, I would have decided that yes, I do want chives and dill, and then moved on. But anyways, so yeah, that's probably stems from the fact that I've got some interesting spiciness in the old brain, as Samantha mentions. For example, Indigo says the bigger the supermarket, the less the cashier will remember you after your totally normal checkout experience. Very true, especially if they're very busy. Samantha says, hence, we care about being in other people's way, where neurotypical people often aren't because they feel more secure in their social position. Oh, it must be nice. Must be nice for them, just being able to just flagrantly be the worst. And just not care. Unbelievable. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm so spicy today. I think the anxiety brainworms have gotten into my head, and they're just making interesting things happen. I feel like the color feels a little bit better now that I've kind of darkened it down, sort of behind / beneath, though. So that's a good. There's some little bits here. I wonder if I can just in between those little gaps. Just make them a little bit less bright, but preferably not really touching the foliage itself too much. This is like so subtle, I genuinely don't know if it's going to make a difference by the time we're done, but that's okay. Sometimes you have to do subtle things that in the background, it's like adding coffee to chocolate cake. You're not making it into a mocha cake. You're just making the chocolate a little bit more chocolatey. I'm making the foliage a little bit more foliagey. Foliaginous? Let's say that that's a word. It sounds pretty. Anyways, neurotypical people are the worst. You're right, and you should say it. No, that feels mean. There are lots of neurotypical people who are lovely and the best. They just experience the world in a very, very different way to the way that I do. And so sometimes it's hard to relate. Anyways. But yeah, looking forward to visiting some supermarkets in another country for a couple of days later this month. That is not next week, but the week after next. So again, there will be no streams on a couple of days. I will announce in advance when those will be. Yeah, that looks better. I promise it looks better. I know you can't tell, but contrary-wise, there are lots of neurotypical people who are awful and the worst to Samantha. I mean, you know, there are many people in the world who I would love to be friends with, and there are also many people in the world who I do not think I should be friends with. I'm just going to put it that way. And that's okay. Unless you are genuinely a terrible person, in which case, you're a terrible person and you should work on that. For realsies. But yeah. Oh, yeah, speaking of terrible people, well, not really, but this is the other thing that happened to me today, is that because I sign petitions sometimes because I care about issues that affect, sort of my community and also the world in general, I sometimes sign petitions, and so I get emails from, like, the websites where petitions are hosted about, like, here's a petition you might want to sign. And I had one today that was like, they should take all of the unoccupied buildings in the country and turn them into housing and make that housing available. And I was like, in principle, that's a great idea. In practice, it's a lot more complicated than that. And I know this because I know that there are places, like in London, where they have taken former office blocks and converted them into luxury flats and then sold these flats on to people. And then have it turn out that, like, there are infrastructure issues in buildings that an office block is going to have different needs when it comes to things like plumbing, heating, air conditioning, like electrical stuff, than a collection of dozens or potentially like hundreds of private residences do. And if you do not effectively solve for these things and make these changes adequately before you convert the luxury flats and make them available for sale, it's gonna suck. There were issues of people like... There's one building in particular that I heard about where... And these were not cheap because it's still London, but it's quite close to a motorway. And so there's just like an entire side of the building where the windows don't open. So congratulations, your windows don't open. Also, the aircon isn't working. Not just for you, for the building, because it's all centrally located because it used to be an office block. But also issues with like the electrics being connected from one flat to others, because again, it used to be like just a shared office building. So somebody's power goes out or their power gets cut or whatever. Congratulations, now nobody on that floor has power. Like, these are all like very complicated logistical issues that you have to think about if you're converting a property that used to be like an office block or something into a sequence of private residences. There's a lot of differing needs that different types of buildings have. So, you know, it's not built for purpose. You have to restructure it into that purpose. And if they do that inadequately, you end up with very bad housing. So just to say, you know, like, hey, these buildings are sitting empty, just make it into a house. It's like, it's not that easy, and it probably is fairly expensive. That's probably why there are situations where you just see it's probably actually less expensive for them to just knock it down and build a new one that is the flats it's supposed to be. And then they make those flats a gazillion times more expensive than anyone can afford, and they sit empty anyways. Yay! Mochaccino says, are you telling me I can't make an inhabitable place habitable just by repainting it and calling it luxury? There go all my plans. Yeah, I'm really sorry to break it to you. But yup. And that's the thing, like, I don't have numbers in terms of, like, housing, people in need of housing versus the amount of housing that is available and not actually occupied at the moment, because that's a different situation where you have, like, developers building, you know, sort of a block of luxury flats that are going for £600,000 a year, or, you know, sort of £600,000 in a vibrant, you know, sort of up-and-coming neighborhood of a city center where most people are not able to afford to pay £600,000 for a luxury flat. So nobody buys them, so they just sit unoccupied. Seems a little bit like bad planning on your part. Maybe the flat doesn't need to be £600,000. Maybe there's the thought, but hey, what do I know? I don't know anything about property and property prices and all that jazz. Because I'm not a homeowner. Because I live in a society. Anyways. Samantha says, solution, Thanos, snap it all away and start over from scratch. No more office buildings. Oh, biddle boy, would I love to live in a no office building situation. That sounds so nice. Anyways, I'm really sorry to just, like, rant today. I don't know why I've been feeling so, spicy. But here we are. The spice has been hokey dokey. Anyways. Sorry, I was checking on my stream dashboard to make sure that everything is running as it should be. And I have a whole bunch of exciting new pop-ups, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Property prices are all made up anyway, says Samantha. They are. They're nonsense. They're just nonsense. I hate it. It's your stream. You can rant if you want to, rant if you want to. I don't want to rant because I don't know if people enjoy my rants. I'd rather be cozy. I'm supposed to be cozy. Cozy is my brand. Cozy it's gonna be. Mochaccino says, same issues happening in Toronto. Society, clown emoji. Yeah, absolutely. Maximum clown, right? Anyways, now I just went to my stream dashboard to make sure that everything was, like, looking as it should. And it popped up with, share your progress towards meeting the Plus program requirements with your community as a goal. And, you know, I don't think I will. Because I don't think that's likely. For those who don't know, the Plus program is something that they introduced whereby if you get a certain number of subs for a certain number of concurrent months, you get a larger revenue split from all of the subs that you receive, which, you know, is super cool and great. But also, it's 100 subs, which is not something that this stream has ever met. It's not entirely outside of the realm of possibility. It's not something that has ever been met on this stream yet. They can't be gift subs and they can't be Prime subs. So it has to be just people making, like, an original native sub that counts. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is just me, maybe this is just me. At least one person in your stream viewership is enjoying the rants. Thank you, Samantha. That is very nice. That's good to know. If one person is having a nice time here, then good. It's entirely possible that that one person is me, but hey. If I'm having a good time, then good. I'm just happy to be here, says Indigo. I'm very happy that you are here. Yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I don't know whether people feel like, they say, like, oh, share your, like, stream goals, like, sub goals and that kind of thing as being, like, motivating for your community. I don't know whether or not that's true. I don't know if someone has, like, a plus program, goal ticker on their page set up, and it's out of 100, and they're sitting squarely at, let's say, like, 7. Does that make you feel motivated to contribute towards that? Or will you just see that and be like, oh, okay, now I know how many people are subbed to your channel. And get on with your day. I honestly, I'm assuming that Twitch probably has, like, the data for this more than I would. But I genuinely don't know if I would find that motivating, or just be like, okay, that's information. If I sub to a channel, it's just because I want to be subbed to the channel. Because I would like to support that person. Or because they have this, like, one specific emote that I think is really fun. Or whatever it may be. But yeah. Mochaccino says, oh wow, gift subs don't count? That's bizarre. I genuinely was very surprised to learn that gift subs don't count. Because I have streamer friends who will periodically receive, like, a boatload of gift subs. I've received what I consider to be, at least for, relatively for me, a boatload of gift subs. And those don't count. It has to be just people who are actively choosing to sub to your channel. And I feel like setting the bar at 100 is significantly higher than most affiliates, or even some partners, are likely to ever see. In terms of people who I know who have managed to actually, like, clear that bar, it's like Drawfee. And I don't know how many followers they have here on Twitch, but over on YouTube, they're on, like, a 2 million creep. So there you go. Indigo says, right, that's someone paid for, but maybe it's because it's less likely to be renewed oh yeah, that's a sub that someone paid for, but it's less likely to be renewed because it's just a gift sub. Yeah, which is true. Sometimes I've received gift subs on this channel to people who, as far as I'm aware, have never been in my chat. Like, usernames I do not, and I have a pretty good memory for usernames, and sometimes usernames will come up for gift subs, and I'm like, I have no idea who that is. And sometimes, indeed, I'll get a notification on Twitch being like, like, somebody gifted you a sub to Scoobity Doobity, and I'm like, I have no idea who that person is. Okay, thank you for the gift sub, friend. I hope that streamer enjoys their little bit of extra quiche. That's cool. That's a cup of coffee, filter coffee, mind you, but still, depending on the exchange rate, because that changes things as well. Anyways, Samantha says, to be honest, I understand gift subs not counting more than I understand Prime subs not counting. I think it's because I don't really understand how Prime subs work from, like, a Twitch perspective in terms of, like, money, because I know, like, if someone subs to my channel with Prime, they didn't have to pay extra for that, because that's just part of their, like, Prime subscription, that it includes a free Twitch sub, which is really cool, and I always feel really honored when people choose to use their Prime sub on this channel. I very, very much appreciate it. That is, you get one of those every month. So, picking the person to get that, it makes you feel like a pretty special person. Anyways, But yeah, I think it's because the way that Prime subs are paid for is it's, like, part and parcel of your Prime membership, and not you choosing to, like, pay this X specific amount of currency directly to Twitch for the purpose of subbing to this one channel. I guess. But the whole thing just feels like shenanigans to me, honestly. And a little bit frustrating. And also kind of feels like, to the extent that it is of the benefit of people who are able to achieve this high bar, it almost feels punitive to everyone who isn't quite, you know, like, good enough to do that. And it just feels kind of bad, actually. So I don't necessarily want to highlight how bad I am at reaching this goal, because I don't think that the channel will at any point in the near future, unless something completely insane changes about, like, the numbers on this channel. And I don't necessarily want millions of people here, because I wouldn't be able to keep up with chat. I can barely keep up with chat as it is sometimes. I love you all. Please continue chatting. You're amazing. My moderator/spouse is home, so I'm going to say hello. Hey, darling. How's it going? It's very good to see you. Hug, please. I'm
sorry. What was it?
It was crawling down the radiator next to my drink, which I'd perched on the top of the bin. I'm not kidding. Big one. Anyways, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm gonna go for a shower.
Okay, have a nice one.
Post?
No post today. Sorry. Okay, love you.
Love you.
Anyways, hi everybody, I'm back. My moderator/spouse is here. He's doing well. I'm happy he's home. Anywho, what's the difference between affiliate and partners, says Indigo? Partners, you have to clear a higher bar of average, I think it's mainly average viewership to become a partner. You still, in order to apply for partnership, you have to have a certain number of average viewers. You also have to have, you know, sort of a certain number of hours streamed in a month. There are other secret criteria that they don't tell you. Like, you can apply for partnership despite having all of the, like, ticking the boxes and not being accepted into the partnership program for nebulous reasons. So it is more complicated than that. Effectively, you get a higher revenue share of any subs that you receive. And I think possibly also ads. And you get more emote slots. And that's kind of about it. As far as I know. Oh, you also get a little tick next to your name to say that you are a very, very well-loved streamer. But apart from that, I don't know if there's really that many other, like, tangible benefits of partnership. More money, more emote slots, little tick next to your name. It's cool. I would not say no to being a partner. I think that would be fun. My average, not to get too heavily into the numbers, but my average viewership isn't quite there, and that's fine. Again, if chat got too busy, I would struggle to keep up with it, so it's fine. Indigo says, I find it so weird you can gift a sub to someone who isn't following. I think, honestly, I kind of think that that's great. In part because, you know, there are some people who have cleared the bar for, like, Twitch affiliation, but you don't have to have a ton of followers to be an affiliate on Twitch. You only need, like, 50 followers. So if somebody wants to come in and gift them, like, 100 subs, the number of subs that they can get gifted shouldn't cap at the number of people who are following them, you know what I mean? And also sometimes you get that notification being like, someone gifted you a sub to this streamer, and you're like, I wonder who this person is. I've never heard of this streamer before. You go over there, you check out their stream, and you find out, oh, actually this person's really cool. I do want to hang out here. Awesome, you know? Like, that's... I think that's maybe a part of it, is also sort of the additional opportunities for discoverability. I don't think I've ever had anyone come to the stream being like, oh, I got gifted a sub to here, so I thought I'd check it out. I think it's pretty rare that actually happens, but I think that's part of the thinking process behind it. I have 2 subs for streamers I watched for like 5 minutes, as Indigo. Yeah, exactly. I think that when you choose to gift like a number of subs to random users, I think it prioritizes people who are like actively following or have watched the stream or have watched the stream recently, and then starts to kind of plumb other users after that. Like if they run out of like active people in that actual community who are present, who have been, you know, sort of in streams, who chat in streams, who lurk in streams, yada yada yada, who are following, and then we'll go to users. Probably users with whom this streamer has other streams, like, in common, kind of thing. Like, people who watch this also watch this stream, so maybe some of the people who are following that person might want to follow this person, that kind of thing. I think that's probably why. Samantha says, I think if you're big enough, you can negotiate the revenue share. I think the random sub-gift prefers active viewers than followers than people who've watched you before. I think you're right. And that makes sense, honestly. But if people gift enough subs, it can spread a lot further. You can only make emotes when you're affiliate, right? Says Indigo. That's right. Yeah, you have to be. I think that for me, anyways, as a streamer, wanting to when I started, I was really hopeful that I was going to be able to become a Twitch affiliate because I wanted to be able to use emotes and make emotes and do that kind of stuff. Because making emotes is fun, having emotes is fun, and I think people enjoy that. I don't feel nearly as much sort of like, oh, gotta do the thing about becoming a partner because it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I think functionally in the way that being an affiliate versus not affiliation does. It's nice to have emotes. is basically my point. Okay. How these stinking rocks. I need to get on with actually painting these rocks a bit, I think. But they are just it is not an easy task. It is a slightly scary task. But it's a task that I have set myself up to have to do, so I guess I'll do it. Essentially. I'm kind of making a somewhat black or green here for like for shading on some of the rocks. I don't think it needs to be overly detailed, but I think it wants to have a little bit more detail. The trouble is I'm looking at a photo that looks like, if I can pull this up real quick so you can see one of my reference photos. I literally just have like the Google image search for Osugidani Falls, which is a waterfall in Japan. As an example, this isn't like an exact portrait of that, but it is inspired by. This is my Instagram page, in case you're not following, because it has to go to that first. Anyways, I posted the little stream sticker I did of Anana just as a little portrait on Instagram, because you know what? Screw it. I thought it was cute, so there you go. But this is the inspiration behind this painting, sort of. Anyways, Mr. Hangman, hello, welcome in. How are you doing? Welcome. It is very nice to see you. How is your Thursday going? How have you been? It's very good to see you. Welcome on in. I wish follower emotes were allowed for everyone, says Mr. Hangman, not just affiliates. Ooh, yeah, that would be really cool. If you're like pre-affiliate, like you don't have the I think it's 50 followers and an average of 3 viewers per stream, and you have to have streamed a certain number of hours within a month. And I think at that point, acceptance is automatic. It's just, as long as you tick those boxes, they will say, yeah, you can be an affiliate, which is cool. But yeah, it would be awesome if everyone, like pre-affiliate streamers could also have follower emotes. Because I think for some people that would probably help grow their audience a little bit faster. I don't know how much emotes and stuff does influence people's decisions to stick around in a stream or follow a stream, but certainly I enjoy when there are emotes. And I think it's a nice feature to have. And I think that would be nice as well. Just, I don't know, maybe not lock everything behind being a popular enough streamer. How many emotes can I make before getting affiliates, says Indigo? But yeah. I I can't remember how long it took me to become an affiliate on Twitch. I don't think it was that long, honestly. I was very blessed with having been a part of enough communities here on Twitch that I already kind of knew a number of people, which meant that there were a number of people who were already willing to kind of come check out my stream, hang out with me a bit, because I was already friends with them from elsewhere. And so to that end, I think that it was a little bit easier for me to kind of slide into streaming and not just be broadcasting entirely to myself. Which, if that had been the case, I probably would have stopped a lot sooner. If I was just doing this and there was literally nobody there, I probably wouldn't still be streaming because I don't think I would find that as much fun as I do doing it among friends. But, anyways. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I can't remember how long it took me. I think it maybe like a month. I think it probably took me about a month to get to having the whatnot that was required for affiliation. But yeah, anyways. But everyone's journey is different. For some people it'll be a few weeks, for some people it might be a few months. For some people it might not be at all, and for some people it is simply not a priority. Anyways. And it's all good. You don't have to have the same goals as everybody else. I certainly wouldn't go into streaming as like, I've never streamed before, hoping to become the most popular streamer on the platform. 'Cause that's gonna be a deeply frustrating experience, I think. Anyways, making friends, recruiting viewers, says Indigo. No! Honestly, a big part of the reason that I started art streaming was, just having a little bit of extrinsic motivation to actually work on art on the regular, because it is really easy for me to just not do stuff if I'm left to my own devices. Because my intrinsic motivation can be, just a tittle bit broken at times. And it's nice just having sort of other folks around to kind of jog my executive function into working properly, because I'm being held accountable by other people by streaming. Anyways, but yeah, so that is a good for my benefit personally, because it actually makes me, work on and complete artworks a little bit more regularly, which is a good thing. Anyways, I'm just putting some like shadow shapes on these rocks so that I can kind of feel like they have a little bit more dimension to them. But I am also being kind of random and vague with them, and I just don't want to add too much stuff. I don't want to over add stuff and then end up having it look like weird or bad, It's just really, it's tough. It's hard. This is honestly really hard. Honestly really hard. And I genuinely don't know if what I'm doing is making it better or worse. I think right now it looks super incomplete and not very good. But, yeah, Mr. Hangman says, I've been streaming since 2014. I've yet to pass 3 average viewers for stream, and that is cool. Are you having fun doing it? Because it's the most important thing. I try not to think about what my average streamer numbers are. I try not to look at how many people are here. In part because if there's no one here, it's going to be really hard for me to motivate myself to talk to myself. If there's, like, hundreds of people here, I will get shy. So I just try not to think about it. Ticking Time Bomb, hello, welcome in. How are you doing? It's wonderful to see you. Welcome, welcome. How's your Thursday going? I'm just trying to figure out how to get some random, like, shadows and shapes and stuff on these here Rockies. Oh, Mr. Hangman says I get sad when no one joins. Honestly, that is also a mood. Sometimes it does get quiet and I start to feel like, am I just talking to myself here? Is there nobody here? Oh well. I'm just gonna keep talking until someone shows up, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. I kind of stop for a while, says Mr. Hangman. That's fair. Also, by all means, and this goes to anyone who is here who streams. If you stream and you would like to let us know when you're streaming, you can pop a link in the Discord. We have a Discord right here. My moderator / spouse is here. Hi, honey. What's up?
If you use the bathroom, be on the floor.
Okie dokie. Thank you, sweetheart. Love you. Anyways. Ticking Time Bomb says, give me an art style, please. Oh, gosh. Pointillism. Just off the top of my head. Indigo says, I want a single viewer on my first stream or I'll probably get anxious. That is totally fair. My first stream, I had, like, I think probably my moderator / spouse was there, and I had one other viewer. And I played, who is a friend of mine who also streams on here. In fact, screw it, I'm gonna give her a shout out. Because she's great. Go give Jo a follow if you're not. She's fantastic. Anyways, but the first game I ever played, it was a game stream. It was a Friday morning, and I played an FMV game from the early 90s of Sherlock Holmes. And it was really bad. Like, the game was bad. The game design was very frustrating. But we had a fun time doing it. I had a great time doing it. Taking Time Bomb says, I just found out what pointillism is, now I'm scared for my life. Hey, no, pointillism is fun. I mean, you can do whatever you feel like. But there's an art style for you. Anyways, Indigo says, or even better, 2 viewers that talk with each other and ignore me. Hey, that works too. Oh, beans. I'm gonna have another sip of my brown sugar coffee. It tastes brown sugarlicious. I think I caught a bit of sun on my arm yesterday because it's all red and it's been like really itchy. Ugh. I don't recommend exposing yourself to the sun. It's not pleasant. What's up, sunshine? You were not supposed to bring sugar home because I forgot to ask you. That's okay, sweetheart. We'll cope. Mr. Hangman says, my biggest stream ever was 94 people because it was back when I used to speedrun Ratchet and Clank. And I got hosted by the biggest Ratchet and Clank runner. But speedrunning was really bad for my mind, so I stopped doing it. That's fair enough. I do not understand how people speedrun. I can't do it, and I find the thought of doing it very intimidating, but I think that's just because the way, like, I play video games is I tend to want to be able to kind of luxuriate in the space of a little bit, and you really can't do that if you're speedrunning. Probably one of the few things that I would consider attempting to speedrun is, like, Super Mario 1. That's it. Just Super Mario 1. That's all. Anything else is too intense, I think, for me. But there you have it. Anyways, but that's really cool. Now I usually just paint or build Legos. Oh, Lego, my beloved. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Love Lego, as you may well know, because Anana here, our little friend. Oh man, he's gotten so much paint on him over the years. Oh my god. Anana, I'm so sorry. Hang on, I'm just gonna give him. I just gave him a little kiss on the forehead. Because we love Anana. Anyways. Once I get my animation props, I might animate on stream. Ooh, that would be cool. That would be very, very cool. You should do it. I'm making album covers this Ticking Time Bomb. Sweet! Sweet, we love a little art along. Ratchet and Clank is a really fun game to speedrun, says Mr. Hangman, but I get way too competitive about it, and if I mess up at all, I get mad at myself because I knew I was better. Oh no! Oh no! I think the best way to do any of these things, and this is how I feel about when I play video games, is just, like, is to just kind of not care. Like, but that's just me and my playing video games brain, is that, like, just, I start by conceding the fact that I am not very good, that I'm not going to be very good, and that is okay. And as such, I'm able to kind of go from that to being... to just kind of vibing and having a good time, because I'm not gonna beat myself up if something goes wrong. I can just find it funny, you know what I mean? But yeah, it is, if you are of a competitive type, I could see that being difficult for sure. For sure. I still don't really 100% know what I'm doing with these shapes. I'm just trying to build out kind of a feeling, I guess, for what the heck these rock formations are doing. And the answer is a resounding I don't really know. Because rocks are confusing, perspective is confusing, and it's all just kind of confusing. I feel like I'm just making it worse adding stuff to it. I don't know. I'm trying to beat Halo 3 on Legendary Solo in under 3 hours. Ooh, interesting. I've never played a Halo in my life, so I have no idea whether or not that is, like, ambitious. Indigo says, I never played any of them, so Ratchet & Clank, Crash Bandicoot, and Banjo-Kazooie are all the same thing to me. Me too, Indigo, despite the fact that we have a Crash Bandicoot emote on this channel. I don't really know anything about any of those, because I think they all kind of emerged during a period of time where I wasn't really playing video games, and video games weren't really available to me as, like, a thing that I was able to do. And as such, I know nothing about any of them, confusingly. But yeah. Okay, just adding some weird Jesus Louises.
Oh hell yeah, Malemony just subscribed. We spicy today? Hot pepper.
Thank you so much for the sub, Mel. Thank you. Welcome on in. And yes, we have indeed been expressing some lightly spicy opinions. But yes, thank you so much for the sub. 16 months! Oh my goodness, that is very, very nearly a year, and I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Light spice, says Mel. Yeah, we had some supermarket discourse. I kind of went on a bit of a rant about the sort of debate between preferring staffed checkouts versus self-service checkouts at supermarkets. Obviously, you know, like, whatever your personal preference is valid. And that is, I think, a very important thing to highlight in that case. But yeah, certainly something that I had been given cause to give thought to earlier today, and I was like, damn. So that's a thought. Anyways, do I want to kind of, yeah, can I get some little bits of shading on these rocks back here? How do rocks work? I just don't know. That's all, I just don't know. So I'm just honestly, I'm just making stuff up here. I'm just goofing around at this point. Yeah. I think as we get further into the back, the details matter a little bit less. I really don't like what I've done with the shadows here, so I'm gonna kind of soften them down a smidge by just doing a little glaze over the whole thing. Because I didn't like it. And I can just do that. If you don't like something you've painted, you can just change it until it looks better. Many, many months, says Mel. I'll get to that year eventually. Hell yeah, I believe in you. Absolutely. 100% for self-checkout if it's just a few items. Otherwise, I want a knowledgeable human, says Mel. That's fair. Become the knowledgeable human you desire, says Samantha. Yes, I completely agree. I mean, in fairness, I do self-checkout when I go grocery shopping, but I should also state that I never do, like... I am not personally buying, like, an entire week's worth of groceries for 2 people at once. And I feel like with the state of the self-checkouts that we have here, I feel like that would be a lot more challenging. But as it is, I just, as I mentioned earlier, I just find it so incredibly stressful when the cashier is just shooting things at me at, like, the speed of sound, and I'm trying to get them in my bag fast enough, and I can't do it, and I'm not able to, like, bag things in the way that I would like them to be, and I have to take them outside and then rebag them awkwardly, and it's bad. I don't like it. Anyways, all the dollar stores here have taken out all the self-checkouts. I've heard that about it. Actually, we have a supermarket that I've been to locally. It's not my local shop, but I did pop in there recently, and I noticed that they took out all the self-checkouts, and I wonder if it's because one that has more theft. But also, there's no one on the regular tills in that supermarket either. They literally have one person manning the little kiosk where you buy stamps and cigarettes and lottery tickets, doing the checkouts for everyone's big grocery shops. Which is awful. And also half the lights are switched off. It's a very weird supermarket. And it's not even like a cheap supermarket. I don't know who goes there. It's not very good. Anyways, but yeah, cashier jobs help out so many people who need that income. They also have baggers or will bag for you. That is a big difference between North America and the UK, Mel, because they do not bag stuff for you here. You got to do all that yourself, which is fine, except for the fact that I can never do it as fast as they can scan things. And so it always feels like you're holding them up. And I find that very stressful. Crack Bandicoot became a channel mascot after a particularly cursed, terrible drawing time, says Samantha. Yes, indeed. And we love him very much. He's trying his best. But yeah, I think probably the reason that the dollar stores have taken out of the self-checkouts is to try and prevent theft. Which, I mean, is just an indictment of the society that we live in. That shops are like, too many people are stealing things. Maybe we should look at why people feel like they need to steal things. Because it's probably not just for funsies, you know what I mean? Anyways. I loved walking and not having to wait in line because there were always 6 of them active, says Mr. Hangman. But yeah, anyways, self-checkout can have a lot of theft, says Mel. Yes, absolutely. Also, when you can, like... I remember hearing an interview with someone who was a representative from, I think it was Tesco, which is a big supermarket chain here, saying that they sell significantly more carrots through self-checkout than they ever actually have available in the shop. Because people will just put whatever more expensive produce onto the scale and ring it up as carrots. Because carrots are one of the cheapest things you can get. But yeah, it's just putting in the wrong code to be charged a lower amount for things or wrong number of items, says Mel. Yeah, families are struggling. Yeah, exactly. Like, people don't, I think in general, most people don't want to steal things. People are struggling to feed themselves and their families. That's the difference. And, you know, I don't know, maybe we should have a bit more compassion about that, shops, instead of just being like, oh, our money's not enough. But then, you know, it becomes a bigger problem with a lot of bigger moving pieces in terms of, like, how do we feed everybody, yada, yada, yada. And one supermarket being like, yeah, okay, you can just have some free stuff, isn't going to solve an endemic societal problem, you know? Carrots cheap, says Mr. Hangman. Carrots aren't cheap here. Carrots are very cheap here. They're one of my favorite things, and I love that they're cheap. Samantha says, to be honest, the shops decided that having robots was cheaper than hiring humans. The theft is the justified price they pay for that decision. Also fair. Margo, hello, welcome in. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you. Welcome on in. Hello. I'm trying to figure out what to do with these gosh dang rocks and having a bit of a time with it. I think, do I want to shift my focus a little bit? I think I do. Fine in you, says Margot. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I had kind of a weird energy earlier because I've been very anxious about, for anyone who missed it, I'm not streaming tomorrow because something is happening and I won't be here. I'll miss you all very much. But it is not a schedule that I set. Anyways, they're like $4 a pound here. It's crazy, says Mr. Hangman. They used to be like $1. Oh my gosh, dang. Maybe you just had a really bad local carrot growing season or something. I don't know. Anyways. Samantha says, we have enough resources that no one in this country should ever be going hungry or unhoused. The fact that people are as purely down to greed. Cannot disagree. My mod / spouse is looking at me. What's up, darling?
$4 a carrot is just because they've realised they taste like dirt and they're trying to stop eating them.
$4 for carrots, he says. It's just because they've realized that they taste like dirt and they're trying to stop people eating them. My moderator / spouse, everybody, famously not a fan of carrots. I think they're delicious. Okay, he says I'm wrong. I say that taste is relative and cannot be disputed.
I'm just saying your taste is obviously wrong in most things because,
Oh, sweetheart, I have impeccable taste. That's why I married you. I love that absolute bear. He's wrong there too. They're sweet, says Mr. Hangman. I mean, I have had carrots that aren't the sweetest. Depending on, I think if they've been allowed to grow for too long, sometimes they can be a bit, I don't find that they taste like dirt, but they can get bitter. But anyways. What else am I gonna do about these weird old rocks? Oh, I think I watered this down too much. Now it's not very visible. Oh well, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe these rocks are getting a little bit more sun so the shadows aren't quite as defined up here. That would also be fine. Just getting some different levels of it there, and again, I don't want to futz too much with these rocks. I kind of just wanted to get a little bit of texture happening in them. I don't know if I've made them better, if I've made them worse. Just don't know. I think I'll pop some line weight onto them as well, and I think that'll help. I also need to figure out how I'm going to do the water, because the water is... I mean, a lot of these photos, the light balance is such that the water is just kind of completely blown out and white. Like the waterfall water. Which is not the most helpful necessarily. I don't know. But I can't just have that be a white stripe because that looks obviously incomplete. So, really, what's a creature to do? You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't know. Anyways, I think I'm gonna do a quick BRB actually. Cause I haven't BRB'd yet, so I'm gonna do a quick BRB and I'll be back in a second. Please enjoy the BRB screen. In the meantime, you're all breathtaking. Hey everybody, I'm back. Oh boy. Okay. Hello. I was just telling my moderator / spouse about the spider situation that I had earlier. And he was like, yeah, well, you know, it's that time of year. I'm like, but we get spiders at every time of year. And he's like, yeah, I know, all year is that time of year. Indigo says I sent a picture in the Discord. Please tell me I'm right. I don't think I'm going to be able to put that on the screen because often if I try and load Discord whilst I am streaming, it can break the computer / the internet. So that... What is that? What is that? Who are them? I don't know. What is them? Anyways. Thank you. Sorry. I'm a little sleepy. I'm gonna paint in these little guys. Because, I figure that's probably something that should be painted in. Is that already a good hair color for that, dude? This sort of greenish orange. I think it kind of works. I think it kind of works as kind of a coppery brown if I don't let it granulate that much. And I shan't let it granulate that much here. I can get my brush to behave. That would be super rad. And his hair looks a little bit messy because it's wet. Oh, there he is, just having a nice little float. That's the mouse from Sendung mit der Maus. I don't know it. And its friends Elephant and Ente. I am unsurprised by their names. Actually, oh, hang on. I can put my phone under the camera so everyone can see. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that that's mouse. That's go away. That's elephant and that's Ente, because mouse, elephant, duck. But do tell me if that is incorrect. If they just decided to go way off script and decided that this was Ente and this was elephant, that would be hilarious. But I doubt it. Is that like a kids TV program or some such? I do not know her, but that's amazing. Anyways. Slightly less cursed, I would say, than Crack Bandicoot in terms of just general vibes. But maybe that's just me. Okay. Alright, this needs to be kind of salt and pepper-ish. That is almost no color at all. It can be a little bit darker than that, but still there's salt. There be salt in that pepper. And if I'm popping this on top of the wet paint, maybe it'll... I don't think there's quite enough there for it to, like, granulate nicely. It's an educational kids show I watched every Sunday as a kid, says Indigo. Oh, I see. Was it good? Was it fun? Was it a lovely time? I hope so. That's neat. Okay. None of these are particularly the colors of human flesh. So I'm gonna have to blend some human flesh tones, I think. I mean, if I just really water down this brown, we might get to something vaguely human. But, I think I might start with a little bit of this sort of brownish red, actually. Get a little blushing, a little bit of warm. Maybe, you know, maybe he's had a little bit of sun, because I think he's quite fair. I've just seen a reply in the Discord. I've just had a notification on my phone. Another German-speaking member of the community has just said, "Die Sendung mit der Maus." So clearly this is a known children's property, just not to me personally. Okay, if I kind of blend that together and then water it right down so it's just a subtle blush, maybe a little bit of this can be part of it as well. Does that look like human flesh color? No, but if I make it homeopathic enough, can it be pale person flesh? Actually, yeah. Yeah, that works pretty well. Go figure. Now some of it is going to be painted over because some of their body is underwater, so it's going to be kind of watered down with some blue as well. So it looks like, you know, they're in some transparent water kind of situation. But yeah, am I gonna need to go find a clip of this show to see what it's like? What did I grow up watching on the telly? Télé Français was one, which you may have guessed due to the anana of it all. But yeah. Anyways, I did enjoy the Télé Français. It was a fun time. Télé Français, Télé Français, Télé Français. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. How's that? The camera is casting an annoying shadow down here, which is making it hard to see what I'm doing. How's that for a human person? It isn't perfect, but this is tiny. So I'm gonna say it'll do well enough. And I hope that it is not a violation of TOS, that they are naked. Shh. Listen, it's okay. It's not like I sketched in their doodles. So, I don't think there's anything anyone could get mad at me about this level of nudity. They are having a nice time together. And you know, if later on they do a little kiss, nobody needs to know. That's their business. Anyways. It was a good mix of, like, educational bits with the host explaining how stuff works, and fun stuff like Shaun the Sheep and animated shorts of the mouse. Oh, that sounds really cute, Indigo! I still reference it when explaining the difference between das Selbe and das Gleiche. Oh my goodness! That's awesome! Samantha says, OMG, Sammy, TOS violations on this Twitch? Sammy's drawing smut on stream. I mean, listen, do I need to put little censor bars over the two nude bathers, or do you think we're okay? Like, real talk, is this too scandalous? Do I need to just cover that up? Because now that they've been painted in flesh tone, there isn't the plausible deniability that they could have been wearing shorts. I think we're fine, says Samantha. I hope so. Indigo says they both mean the same, but one is the literal same physical object and the other is, like, identical looking. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I feel like in the back of my brain I knew this, but also, I don't speak a lot of German these days, so it doesn't really come up. Anywho, I want to try popping some subtle line weight onto the rocks and see if, or do I want to paint in the water a little bit first? I think what I might need to do is, okay, I think this, maybe a slightly less fine brush than this, with this one, perchance. And I don't want the water to be like bright stripes of turquoise, because that's gonna look real dumb. But what I might to do is just make just a really, really, really light sort of glaze and pre-moisten the area, and then just kind of wash over it with, like, vaguely bluish, and see what kind of texture that gets me. I think I could maybe do that. Okay, I'm gonna grab my tissue and just blot up this bit, because I'm about to make this section real wet, and I don't want it to bleed out into other colors particularly, so let's try something and hope that it doesn't look terrible, but who knows? It's just really tough, because, like, looking at photos of, like, running water, a lot of it just looks white. It just looks white. How do I get it to look dynamic and not just like there's a section of my painting I didn't paint in? Samantha says corporate needs you to find the difference between these two phrases. They're the same phrase. Oh. But yeah, no, I understand. It's like, imagine that both of these goblins on dogs have been painted. The difference between, you know, it's the same in as much as like this is the one thing versus these two things are the same, but there's two of them. Is that it? It's like this is, you know, oh, I was talking about a goblin on a dog. Oh, this is the same one you were talking about versus these two are the same, right? Am I getting it? Am I articulating the connotative differences of these two words correctly? I'm honestly not even sure at this point. But anyways. Oh, yeah, like, they wore the same shirt, as in, like, I went to a party and I was wearing the same shirt as somebody versus I was wearing this shirt and then, you know, my boyfriend was wearing this shirt later. Like, that kind of thing. That is a much better way to explain it than what I just tried to do with the goblins on dogs. Anyways. Smith says also, I was off in the kitchen preparing dinner when you said, but you mentioned another German member of the community as I was thinking, it's Sen, isn't it? It's Sen. Look in Discord, it's Sen. It was Sen, yes, the resident German person. Indeed, that was the German speaker of whomst I was speaking. I didn't necessarily want to, I don't necessarily think everyone in the stream at the moment knows friend of the channel, Senesion. Because there may be new people here. But can confirm that Sen is a friend of the channel and a cool German person. And I'm happy to know them. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of very vaguely color this in. And hope that at the very least it makes it look a little bit less like I just forgot to paint this bit of the painting. But it's still, at the end of it, looks more or less like some running water. Which is what it is supposed to. Well, that still looks kind of incomplete and bad, so I think I need to keep working on it just a smidge. But what I am going to do, I don't know if this is a mistake. While this is still wet, I'm going to try and, just pull a little bit out there. And a little bit of that. But then, using this there was a rogue bristle there. Just kind of dial it back a smidge, but I want to kind of get the impression that it is kind of flowing into this pool here. So we've got a bit of a fade going there. Is that accurate? Who cares? I just want it to not look bad and weird and like these two bodies of water are not connected, you know what I mean? It's kind of a slow trickle by the time it gets down to this little pool. That's fine, but there's also something about the mouse's small friend being an elephant that I just love, says Indigo. It is very cute. It is very cute. I'm gonna have to see if I can find clips of this show because it does look very, very cute. I will investigate after stream. Excuse me. Oh my goodness gracious. The hiccups are for reals, y'all. And they're not very fun. But anyways. I think I might just try and put some, like, I don't know, weird texture lines or something in these to try and make it feel like there's some water that is moving, because right now it still just kind of looks like it just kind of looks incomplete. But maybe let's focus on a different bit of the painting for the moment. For instance, I'm just gonna glaze over the bits of our little nude bathers that are actively submerged, so you can tell but they're in the water. Like so. So it feels a little bit more like they're actually going for a swim and not just sitting on top of the surface of the water, which would be just a little bit weird. Because usually when one is going swimming, even if the water is perfectly clear, you know, like there's stuff in there. Your form is going to be a little bit obscured. There's an archive of the little animated clips, says Indigo. Ooh, hell yeah. Looking forward to checking it out. Hell yes, that's awesome. I'm going to take a sip of my tea, which I've been horribly neglecting here, which is... Oh, delicious. It's just mint tea, because I don't put sugar in my mint tea, and I wanted to have a tea that I don't put sugar in. If you missed it earlier, I don't have any regular sugar in the house. I only have dark brown sugar. And I can have that in coffee, but I wouldn't have that in, like, a black tea. And normally I put sugar in my black tea because I like it sweet, because I'm sweet like that. But to that end, I found myself in a situation where, I needed to drink something, and so I decided a decaf would be a good choice because brown sugar pairs well with the flavor profile of a decaf, I feel like. So, you know. Anywho, there was another bit of detail that I wanted to add to some of the rocks. There's just a little bit more, somewhat more of a greenery feel to them, like maybe there's some moss growing on some of these rocks. So I wanted to try and get that feel across. Just kind of make it a little bit greener in places. But very, very lightly, because I don't want to darken the rocks down that much. But I do want to pull in a little bit of a mossy hue. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, I didn't want to do that with the mic on, but there wasn't enough time for me to mute it. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness gracious. I do apologize for the little echoes there. Oh my goodness, no. Heck. Sorry about that. Let's paint some moss on this rock. Let's mottle it real good. Moss. 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 I like a bit of moss. I think it's neat. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. Let's maybe... Yeah. Let's get a little moss back here as well. Moss. Moss. Moss enjoys the humid environment of the waterfall, I suppose. And good for the moss, I say. There. It's a little mossier, a little bit more lively, a little bit more alive, I think. Maybe this one in front can have some moss too. Yeah. I think it's starting to feel a little bit more together. Games, hello. Welcome on in. Oh, and thank you also for the Gesundheit, Samantha. I appreciate it. My height is indeed gesund, and I appreciate that. Living in the UK, says Samantha, means getting misgendered by the chaired person. Living in Germany means misgendering das Stuhl. Oh dear. Indeed. Why did you misgender Dane Stuhl? Asks Indigo. Great question. How's it going, Games? It's wonderful to see you. Welcome on in. Hello. I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday. I am. Apart from the sneezes, I'm doing okay. Anywho. Actually, that was the thing that I was thinking about just before stream started. The sort of, I think it became a meme, but the sort of the well-meaning ally, who's cishet and doesn't quite get it, but like they've got the spirit, but then being like, his pronouns are they them. And I had a really big giggle about that. There was this is it is a funny, but there was a newspaper article, I think, about someone famous who had just come out as non-binary, and they were like, so and so has come out as non-binary and has changed his pronouns to they them, and I'm like, their pronouns. Like you got the spirit, but just proofread. Games has been looking for a while, saw German and couldn't resist replying, "Oh, danke." Anyways, I do appreciate when people make an earnest effort and are willing to be corrected. But also, it's very funny to me. Like, oh my god, listen. Anyways. Okay. Do I want to... Is this dry enough for me to try and add some textural stuff to it, perchance? I don't know. Oh, I picked up way too much black paint there. That is way more than I need. Let me just decant out a little bit. Ooh, that is breezy, actually. I'm going to close the window just a smidge. It's okay, they'll get it next time. Exactly, they're working on it. Okay. It was a little too breezy. I was getting hit in the face with the curtain. So I have closed the window a tittle bit to try and mitigate that a smidge. Okay. Yeah, I think that paint's mega activated and was a little bit too much for what I needed for my purposes for the moment, which is taking this mostly dry bit and trying to get just a better... The thing is, a lot of like photos of waterfalls and stuff that I have for references, the waterfall itself is real far away, so the detail, if you try and actually look at what's happening in terms of the waterfall textures and stuff, is just, it's very blown out because of like the light balancing on it, and it's also incredibly potato quality. It is a little bit closer here, but if I can just try and doodly-doo, make some little adjustments here and there to, I think, sort of round the periphery of it. Might be a little bit more. Maybe even just seeing some of the stuff under it a little bit more, Anyways. Samantha says, my favorite bit of journalistic mehness is X uses she, her, and they, them pronouns, so we will use she, her in this article for consistency. I mean, I guess. Like, I think the thing about having, like, the you can use this pronoun or you can use that pronoun, because as you've probably seen, my pronouns are she, her, or they, them. If I were to express a preference between the two, it would probably be the latter, but I also recognize that sometimes I just don't want to have to. I just don't want to have to. And, like, she is fine, and sometimes you just want to take a path of least resistance because you don't want to have to explain, like, singular they to people you don't know very well. So it's like, yeah, whatever. My gender is, I'm tired. Anyways. But yeah, no, definitely. Samantha says, funnily, it is always the gendered pronouns that get chosen for consistency. Really weird that. I think that's the thing. If I know someone uses, like, a pronoun and also them, I will tend to default to the them. But maybe that's just me. Anyways. Not solving this equation for X, because this game's fair. X, formerly Twitter. I don't know what Twitter's pronouns are. Twitter is an adventure. Twitter, actually, I have two Twitter accounts. I have my official Twitter account, and then I have like a super secret Twitter account that I use to mostly yell about TV shows I like. For when I just don't feel like being professional and just want to be a bit feral, okay? But what was I saying? It really, for me, having two separate Twitter accounts for different flavors of shenanigans is really demonstrates quite acutely how different your experience of a social medium is depending on who you're following and what words you have filtered out and all that jazz. And that when someone's like, oh, I left Twitter because it's so toxic, I'm like, you were probably following people who were sharing toxic things into your feed and not blocking people who, were being toxic. Because, like, I have, sort of honestly, on my, like, professional, like, Sammy Kelch Twitter account, there is a lot of stuff that ends up in my Twitter feed. I don't look at my feed on that account very often because a lot of it is just, like, incendiary political stuff that makes me feel stressed. So I hop on, I look at a couple of things, I try and catch up with, some friends that I have on there, and then I dip and I go to my other Twitter account, which is mostly just pictures of pirates kissing. And it feels like a nice place to be, and a happy little community, and I have friends there. I don't have very many friends there. I'm very lonely, but, Anyways, Samantha says, saying partly because I assume most people will default to gendered, so it probably makes a nice change to have their other pronoun choice acknowledged, and partly because I know a lot of people hedge just to make life smoother in a very gendered society. Hi. Hello. $12.5 billion, formerly $44 billion, says Indigo. Wow. Speaking of losses, I don't know if anyone is keeping up with what's happening over at, like, Warner Brothers Discovery HBO, but they just are hemorrhaging money. I think it was something about 10 billion that they've lost since their last earnings call. It's almost as if subscribers to your platform don't really love that you just keep canceling all of the shows that they enjoy and making the things that they want to watch not be available. Weirdly, I feel like people tend not to want to give you money to do that. The fact that, like, the only executive of that level whose name I know is David Zaslav, and that's because he's doing such a horrible job, tells you something about the level of terrible job that David Zaslav is doing. Like, what the hell, Zas? What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, we've got some waterfall texture in there. It feels a little bit more like water is kind of coming down here, like doopity doopity doo doo doo. I am wet. La la la. Cool. We have a waterfall. I want to line weight some of these rocks. But yeah, I have bones to pick with Warner Brothers Discovery HBO. They canceled my favorite TV show. Now, obviously, this is a little personal because they canceled my favorite TV show, but not only did they cancel my favorite TV show, they canceled my favorite TV show as they were gearing up to, like, starting to hire, like, they had hired people for the next season of the show. So people had set aside, like the block of time that they were going to be filming this, for instance. Like crew members, people who need these incomes to live, and then they just pulled the rug out from under them and were like, actually, no, you're not going to be doing anything later this year. Good luck with that, because we canceled your show. Which is, a ding-dong move, frankly. But also, they also literally completed a film. literally completed a film that had been shown to test audiences, and people really liked it. By all accounts, everyone who had seen it said, this is a wonderful movie. This is really good. And they just decided that, we're just going to not release this, actually. Because why? Tax write-off. And it's like, you've lost billions of dollars. This is clearly not a sound financial move. Not that I know anything about running, sort of like a major entertainment studio, but neither does David Zaslav. Anyways, Games says, left for Mastodon and haven't looked back since I found the right instance/server for me. Yeah, I love Mastodon. Though I'm not following that many people, so it's quite quiet for me. But I get to see photos of birds. And honestly, that's 90% of what I care about having social media for, is getting to see pictures of birds, because I am a bird person. Samantha says, Warner Brothers discovering the movie studio who mostly cancels movies instead of releasing them is not a viable long-term earning strategy. Yeah, odd that. And yet somehow somehow the head of their studio keeps getting raises year over year. Huh. I wish I could fail upwards like that. I bet that would feel real good. Having enough money to not care about public opinions and just be the worst person and ruin other people's lives must be great. Anyways, and I know it's like, it's the entertainment industry. It's fairly trivial, but it's the livelihoods of many, many, many people that get screwed by these decisions. So yeah. Is this Batwoman or Coyote versus Acme? Yes, Samantha. The answer is yes. I don't know what the state of Batwoman was in terms of, like, was it good? I don't know. I know that Coyote versus Acme was good, but the point is, even bad movies deserve to get released. Someone will enjoy it, and sometimes you strike gold and it's so bad, people will watch it anyways because it's bad, so that they can complain about how bad it is. That is chef's kiss for a studio, surely. It's okay to have a couple of those. Anyways. But yeah, the fact that a tax write-off was worth more as a short-term bump to make line go up is absurd. Hollywood accounting is a term for a reason, because it makes no freaking sense. There is nothing about the accounting and finances of, like, the film and TV industry that makes any sense to me. I have a pet bird, says Games. Oh, please tell them I said they are a very good bird. What species of bird? What type of bird? If you would like to share, I'd love to know. And I also, regardless, convey my respect and regards. Hello, Aoife, welcome in. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. We were just talking about the entertainment industry. Samantha says, Batwoman, had to be better than I can't believe I misgendered Batwoman, I'm sorry. Batwoman had to be better than the entire rest of the DCEU they actually released. Have I seen any recent films in the DCEU? No. Is that entirely because they hold zero interest for me and all look kind of boring? Yes. Pretty much. They released the Flash film, but oh my god, that looked so bad, and it had... I feel bad for the people who worked on that movie because of the fact that it turned out that the main actor in it was not a good person. And it also looked really bad. Anyways, she's a lovebird and her name is Mango because she literally looks like one color-wise. I'll tell her hi, says Games. Oh, thank you for saying hi. Thank you. Oh, Mango Lovebird. Oh, she sounds wonderful. Wasn't that the plot of a musical? The Producers was a musical, you are correct, in which two, Broadway, I think, musical producers decided to put on a musical that would be so unsaleable, so unliked, so much of a flop, because they figured out, again, via this creative accounting, that they could actually somehow, and it doesn't make any sense, but they figured out that they could make more money with a bad musical than a good musical, so they decided to, deliberately produce a flop, and to their absolute confusion and horror, it was very good. Well, it wasn't good, but people loved it. And it was indeed Springtime for Hitler. Thank you, Samantha. Which, You would think that that would be a shoo-in for being terrible and people hating it, but it was a roaring success, and they were like, "Oh no," because they wanted it to fail, and then it didn't. So so there we are. Don't set out to deliberately make Springtime for Hitler. I mean, don't make Springtime for Hitler, because I think, you know, that's. I mean, the point of it was that it was in poor taste, but it turns out it was also a hit. Mel Brooks is hit and miss for me, but that one I really liked. I think that I really liked The Producers. It was, I mean, I haven't, did I see? Because I think they did like the original film version of it was with Gene Wilder and Sarah Mistel, if I remember correctly. And I've seen that one, and I love that one. And I think they remade it with, I want to say Nathan Lane was in it. I don't think I ever saw that one. But I'm sure it was also really good, because he's great. Samantha says they had the show over-invested, i.e. sold more than 100% profit share amongst various peoples, intending to keep the excess investment money and pay nothing back, because no profits, it being hit, mean that they are owed far more money than they made. Oh! Thank you for explaining how the accounting works. And it just goes to show you can't necessarily predict how successful something is going to be. You might produce, like, the best musical ever made, and for some reason it just doesn't hit right. It shows up at the wrong time, it gets overshadowed by something else, the promotion is just bad. Oh, speaking of, there was something else that Warner Brothers put out, and apparently, I don't actually know what it was, because there's a lot of media that I'm not familiar with. That is nothing to do with the quality of the work. That is just me living in a bubble under a rock. But it was quite successful, despite the fact that apparently, according to like the dude behind it, they literally had to pony up their own like promotional budget, because the Warner Brothers was like, nope, you're on your own, which is kind of effed up. It's like, you made the movie, you're supposed to do promo for it, and they were just like, nah, how about we don't do that? Like, it amuses me that the fictional accounting from that show makes more sense than Hollywood accounting, says Samantha. It's true, it's ridiculous. Who lives in a bubble under a rock? It's me. No, it's Patrick. Every time I see a starfish at the aquarium, I always have to go up to it and be like, excuse me, is this the aquarium? And then the starfish says, no, this is Patrick. And I do a little sensible chuckle, because I am extremely normal. Anyways. Just gonna line away these rocks. I don't think we're gonna finish this today, because I am gonna have to go make dinner at some point in the near future. But I want to see what happens. Oh, there was a little bit of moisture just hanging out on the end of this brush, which I do not want for right now. In fact, I'm almost wondering if I should use a finer brush than this. Maybe I'll start with you. Just to put some, not super dark, but just extant. I didn't realize every starfish is called Patrick. It just, you know what? It just makes it easier for them. That's the thing, Samantha. It just makes it easier for them to remember their respective names, if they're all called Patrick. It's very clever if you think about it. Very clever indeed. Anyways. Line waving my rocks. La 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 la. Doodly doo. Because this rock is in front of those rocks. And I want to make sure that you can tell that this rock is in front of those rocks. And not just like a weird blob-shaped extension of them. If that makes sense. Thus. I have no idea. Starfish Whisperers. That makes us into go, yep, that's me. I can talk to the starfish. No other creatures, just starfish, and they are very quiet in response. So I might not be a very popular starfish whisperer, but never mind. I'm trying my best. Just like I'm trying my best with these Rockies. Is it going good? I don't know. But I'm certainly trying my best. Okay. See where the edge of it is there because there's trees. So I'm going to ignore that. Rocks! Do they make sense? I don't know. Hopefully they will by the time I'm done. Hopefully the rocks will make some manner of sense by the time we're finished here. I shall certainly try. Anyways. I do apologize once again for the fact that I will not be streaming tomorrow. Sometimes schedule-y things happen to me that I cannot schedule around stream, or I cannot stream around. And this is one. I hope to be able to tell you about it afterwards, assuming it goes okay, and I don't end up having a terrible time, in which case we will all forget that it happened, and no one will mention anything. And I thank you in advance. Because I'm very anxious about it. Anyways. Reassurance is always welcome. I feel like it's starting to make more sense. The little bit of like faint line weight around the rocks, I think, hopefully is selling it a smidge. Though I don't know. I do hope perchance 'tis the case. Background rocks getting real vague with the lines because we're heading into its far away territory, so we don't need to worry about it so much. It's definitely feeling more like a scene than it did when I started. This was a piece I was really nervous about just because I felt like it looked, I don't know, just weird. Like, I sketched it out and I was like, what am I doing here? What am I trying to achieve? What is this? What is this? I didn't know. But I feel like now that it's got, a bit more detail in it, it feels like it makes a tiny amount more sense. Just a smidge, just a little bit, but it does. Maybe all the starfish you meet are just Sammy whispers. Ooh, what if? Samantha says, ooh, D&D idea. A druid who can only speak with animals because all the animals they meet took the speak with humans spell. Samantha, that is hecking adorable, and I love it. Yes. Yes, that is perfect. Okay. So for the little dudes, for our little guys here, I'm gonna need the teeny tiniest brush that I have, which is this one, which is very, very teensy. And that is important. Because I'm going to need a really, really fine line, because I keep not only drawing these little guys, I keep drawing these little guys, like, I swear, increasingly tinier. Like, I think they are actually getting smaller. To the extent that, it's getting harder to get all those little details sort of line weighted in a way that looks okay, But I think for that's all right. I've just had a little thought. And I am kind of wondering, do I dare indulge this little thought of mine? And you'll see why I'm asking that question when I get to it, because I think I am gonna try to indulge this little thought of mine, and that is that I kind of would like to just get in a little bit of additional detail on these little guys, but I am a little scared of going somewhat overboard with the detail and having it not work, but I also kind of want to try something. So I'm gonna kind of try something, I think. But first, let me just get a little line weight on this little guy's hair. Which is a little messy because he's going for a swim, and that's okay. But I've got these teeny tiny little guys. So what I was thinking is, I've got this teeny tiny little brush. Is it going to be way too teeny tiny for me to just Yes. It is way too teeny tiny for me to get in teeny tiny chest hair. Or teeny tiny, like, freckles. But now that I've done a little bit on this one, I kind of need to do a little bit on this one, because he's got some chest hair as well. There we go. Actually, yeah, I think that's alright. No! You can't see it! Oh no, how long has that been out for? Oh, flip. Okay, hold on. Because I think we're just about done this piece, actually. I think I'm pretty happy with where we are, and I kind of want to finish it, so I think we're just about done, but you can't see it, so let me just do some fixing in the background here. One moment, please. Please don't leave. We're not ready. Anyways, what's everybody up to this weekend? I'm not going to see you until Monday now, so if you have any exciting weekend plans, feel free to share with the class. I'd love to hear all about them. Just doing a little refresh here. Hopefully we will be back up online in just a moment. Come on, you little so-and-so. Come on. It's initializing the video engine. Oh, yay, I think it's connected again. Yay, you should be able to see it now. Let me pop back onto the art camera. Yay! Camera only recently went back and forth to the kitchen cooking. It was on the last time I popped my head in. Yeah, I think it was only gone for a few seconds, thankfully. But, these little frame ratey, but these are our little guys. Having a happy little swim in this little pond. I really like these paints. I think these paints are really pretty. I think I didn't really know what I was doing with this landscape, so it's a little bit weird. But on the other hand, I think it's kind of cute. I hope it's kind of cute. I had a nice time doing it. I might actually just... I'm just gonna darken down these rocks kind of in the back here, just so they recede a little bit more. Behind these little patches of greenery. Okay. And I'm going to stop futzing, because I think there is an extent to which if I continue to futz, it's just going to get worse. And I would like it to not get worse. So instead, I'm going to actually fade this a little bit out a little bit, because I've decided I don't like the way that detail looked. So I'm going to get rid of it a bit. Indigos is probably be exhausted. I started working today. Oh, congratulations on the work, though. Hell yeah. Gonna use the art along as an excuse to paint more consistently. Yes! Do it, Indigo. Hell yeah. Love that for you. That is super rad. Absolutely. Do those art alongs. Very, very cool. Would love to see it. Okay. That, and I'm just mixing up a nice sort of dark enough-ish color to do a little signature. And then I'm probably going to call it there for today. Because I did do a bunch of painting off stream this midday sort of ish period as well. So I am all painted out, but I think that's about as good as it's gonna get. I hope this landscape is okay. I hope it's cute. Do I think it's my best work? No. Do I think my last painting was my best work? No. Did I just paint a bunch of really good stuff off stream that I can't show you yet? Yes. I'll get to show it to you soon. So watch this space. And I've got spooky season stuff planned for next art stream. We're going to be painting a little ghost barista, making a little, I don't know, pumpkin spice tea or something. Or maybe just a flat white, because that's what I would rather be drinking. But, oh, shoot. Oh, beans. Okay, no, we're not done. We're not done. Hold up. Wait a minute. I goofed. I preemptively declared our doneness, and then I realized that I need to add these little lines to give the piece a feel of they're in the water. Because I think that just this little bit of detail does really sell. I'm floating in the water quite nicely. I mean, that's quite subtle. Sammy forgot to add the pink. No, I'm not. Even if I was painting those in, I'm not painting them in on stream, Samantha. There will be no peanuts in this stream. You will just have to imagine their respective hogs, okay? They are not being painted this time. I have painted nudes before. I've done life drawing. I've done, sort of other situations where, like I've had to paint like doodles and stuff. This is not going to be one of them because I genuinely don't think that I could get the tiny detail enough of a doodle on these little guys without it being, a little bit, yeah. Anyways, that pairing of hair colors looks rather familiar. It's almost as if I keep painting these little guys. They're just off on adventures. I wonder if these two men might be based on any kind of IP I know. Absolutely not, Samantha. You've never seen them before in your life. I don't know what you're talking about. These are just a couple little guys going for a swim under a waterfall, okay? Anyways, so this painting is done. And I have to go make dinner. Tonight's dinner, by the way, is Kids Menu, and I'm very excited. Because Kids Menu is one of my favorite dinners. And if anyone's wondering what Kids Menu is as a dinner meal, it is dino nuggies, mashed potatoes, and steamed peas. And it's perfect. I'm probably going to make myself hot honey sauce to dip my nuggies into because that's my bag. Or maybe, actually, I've got some katsu sauce. I might just use my katsu sauce. Anyways, Indigo, that's rude. Hold on. A bonk for Indigo in the chat. Rude. Anyways. But yeah, dino nuggies and mashed tatties, says Samantha. Yes, so delicious, so delicious. I like to imagine one of them as gentlemen and both are pirates. You can absolutely imagine whatever you feel like, Samantha. Anyways, I am going to find someone for us to raid now because it is time to say goodnight for me. This is a quiet stream, this is a weird stream, this is a ranty stream, but thank you all for hanging out with me. It has been nice. I just got a notification that I had an unban request. That was from 4 months ago, so I don't know why Twitch is highlighting that for me now. I am leaving that unban request in limbo because I don't want to deal with it. But anyways, I'm going to see if I can find someone that is not just about to finish. So, fingers crossed. The gentleman would always also like to welcome you to the world of Jumanji. Samantha, shh. Anyways, Dino, I'm so excited for Dino Nuggies, though. It's so silly, but I very much am. Please don't be about to end. Please don't be about to end. Hopefully, they are not about to end. Oh, damn, they've been streaming for 5.5 hours. And they're about to end. Okay, never mind. Let me find someone to raid who isn't just about to end, everybody. I'm sorry. That was a That was a false start. Am I revealing your secrets? Shh. I mean, it's fine. There's not very many people here, and I don't think anyone cares what I do. Anyways, let me pop a generic raid message in the chat while I find someone for us to raid. I mean, I know I don't need to raid, but I like to. Here's a generic raid message you can copy in the meantime. With the kiwi emotes, because they do little plaps and birds make me happy because I'm a bird person. Oh, for flip's sake, Wrench, get in the bin. Bye-bye. And that's why links are disabled in the chat, everyone, because people like that ruin it for everybody else. But no, okay, let's see if... Let me try one more. If this person is just about to end, I might just need to leave because I do have to go cook dinner. It's getting kind of late. Okay, they've been going for a bit, but there's no indication here that they are just about to finish. So I will send us over to Band, who is, ooh, doing some fun textures here. Hell yeah, okay. And actively still working on art, so I don't think he's about to finish. Fingers very crossed. Anyways, we've got a raid going. Thank you so much for hanging out, everybody. Sorry if I was weird today. And I'll be back on Monday, and hopefully I'll be more normal by then. But you're all breathtaking, and it's been so nice hanging out with you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and a good weekend. I'll be around on Discord anyways, you know, the usual. But thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, everyone, and take care, everyone. And goodbye, and good night.